this video, I review UX design portfolios from Gloria and Siriveena Nandam. You will learn why your portfolio has to use a clean and structured layout. I'll also talk about the importance of avoiding generic phrases and why every portfolio should include easy-to-find contact information. Let's jump in. Hey, my name is Gytis. I'm a product designer, and throughout my career I've led multiple projects and teams, hired many designers, and reviewed over 100 of UX portfolios. In this video, I'll take a role of a hiring manager, show you how I review portfolios and the key aspects that make a great one, so that you can improve your own. Let's take a look at the portfolio from Gloria, which is a very cool last name, I must say. Okay, so right off the bat, first impressions, I see, a bordery type of approach, which I'm assuming I'm going to see across the board. Okay, yeah, so solid borders, kind of, Figma-like type of design, maybe kind of lesser than that, but I quite like it. And yeah, some nice illustrations, some moving parts. So already, looks interesting, although kind of looks busy here as well. Quite a lot of things. So I might want to cut down a little bit, maybe on some visuals or the text, something. It looks quite busy here, maybe a bit busier than I would like. So let's see what she's saying about herself. Hello, my name is Gloria. I'm a product manager and designer who loves to create useful, intuitive, and engaging products. Okay, so from this, I'm only interested in the product manager and designer part. Useful, intuitive, engaging products. That's very, again, just using keywords. You would find these everywhere pretty much, so quite generic. So I'll probably, it does not really give me any valuable information. Let's see what else. As a curious, creative, and critical thinker, I love to explore the world around me, understand how things work, brainstorm, live innovation, problem solving, varied background, and bring unique set of skills and perspective into my work. Take a look at work. Okay, right. So as you can see, I'm not even really reading every single word. Kind of jumping through words, and I'm even like the very first sentence subconsciously and even consciously giving me already a boring type of feeling. I was, just like lights were blinking and it's like, I just skip this. This is so boring. Like when you imagine when you're going through like 20, 50 of these portfolios, you might spend a bit more time in the first few, maybe 5, and then from there you're just gonna really speed through the rest of the portfolio. So as soon as I start reading and it starts sounding like another one of these portfolio pieces, like just another generic text, I just skip it. Like it's not interesting. It does not give me any value here. So I was, start seeing curious, creative, and critical thinker. Like everyone says that pretty much, let's be honest, right? So unless you have something really, eye-catching and something to pique my interest, something to hook me on, something unique and special, and that usually is your background, maybe varied background, maybe includes the actual varied background that you have, some specific example of it, that would be interesting perhaps. So yeah, really try to make this as concise as possible, deliver as much information as you can, but also try to include even, sometimes even a couple words are enough to really catch my attention and make this, a bit interesting, so that I'm actually curious to read what's next. And currently, overall first impression is the visuals don't really match up to me with the text. Visuals are a bit more edgy and bright colors and borders, and we're seeing a lot of, some words probably talking about yourself, all start with G, and that's all cool and well. I dig it, but the content here is really feels like you've generated with ChatGPT or something like that. So please take your time and try to craft something that is actually feels unique, still human, and definitely don't use ChatGPT to do that. And let's take a look at the portfolio. So featured work, boom, very bright. And then we've got Bank in America, Glowtastic, Pan Am, footer, big footer, no CTA. Okay, I'm coming to this time and time again. Have a CTA for people to really contact you easily. If you want to be hired by a recruiter, don't make us work hard and try to find how to contact you. In this case, like I've reached the end and say, oh, I like your portfolio, I want to reach out. Where do I go? Like, do I go to your social to reach out? Like, why can't you just have your, for simple form in there, or better, just email address really, big and easy for me to spot? Yeah, I don't get it. Please do have that CTA, call to action, contact form at the every page of your portfolio. Right. Okay. So looking at this again, I'm mostly interested in people working on complex data-driven application. That's usually the core of what I tend to work on. And from these three portfolio pieces, I can see that Bank of America is probably the only one that could, match that. Right. Okay. So there we go. And up front, okay, no title here, just the images, some screenshots of that. So that's cool. And then we've got Bank of America, and we have this nice navigation panel at the bottom here, so I can quickly go to the different sections. I think that's a great way to go about it. And we've got some overview, timeline, tools, role. That's cool. And projects, fictitious scenario completed as a part of Design Labs UX Academy. Right. Okay. So go. That's not as great as obviously being hired and working for Bank of America, but let's just see how it goes. So Bank of America, let's adding a finance feature, surplus management, background problem, project goals, the process, and we've got we have these sections here. Okay, so that's something I really like. Honestly, very clearly defined, structure and borders for each of the process that you say. And I did not realize that you can just click on it actually. Okay, so really cool actually, and quite fresh looking idea here. Easy to navigate to sections, which is great, and then actually separating them into very clear and defined process. That's usually an indication of a project work apart from a part of your coursework, whatever. Because in the coursework you usually are able to control the process because you're pretty much coming up with it yourself and the product and so on. So a pause that I made when I've read that this is a piece of the coursework, it's realistically it's obviously much easier to design something when it's part of your course. You're learning, you're coming up with stuff. Usually you just come up with problems yourself. Sometimes maybe you can get some real life problems, I don't know, from the online, whatever, and then use that as the basis. But the biggest missing part is the realistic feedback loop that you would get with a true client. And that's why I usually say that, even designing something for your friend, whether that could be a website or whatever, but actually designing for a person who would then use that product, I think that's probably more valuable and realistic than creating something like that. But that aside, this is very, again, detailed and thorough. I like the layout and the structure of it all. And again, a lot of information, too much for me to read. Contact me. Oh, yes. At least we have that here. Although, again, no email. So that's weird. And we've got some interesting stuff happening here at the bottom, which I just noticed, which the navigation is set to be higher than the footer here, so it goes over the top, which it probably should not. And I like that you have clear indication if I click on one or the other what project I'm gonna look next. So this is pretty cool. Add email somewhere here or contact, very basic contact form. I think that'd be great. So, right, that's good. And maybe let's click into another and just see if there's any client work that she has done. Okay, so yeah, my internet is a bit slow now, so I might not be able to get to it. That's also live and it sometimes happens. So, uh, yeah, that is fine. Let's go back to it. So, overall, I think I quite like the visual style of it. I would definitely cut down on the text, both in the header and in the actual caseworks. The overall layout and structure I really like. So, like, how it's structured and the inside of the case study is, really cool as well. So overall, I think a consistent visual theme across it and some nice project work. I would probably like to see upfront whether it's client work or not in here. And apart from that, it's looking pretty good. The hover thing here, it does not work. When you hover, you can't really see what's there. You can fix that. Yeah, so needs a bit of a cleaning up and needs some client work. But apart from that, I think this is a pretty cool, visually quite appealing portfolio piece. Let's take a look at another portfolio, this time from Siriveena, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she's a product designer and create data-driven solutions that elevate human experiences. Okay, so for me, I understand product designer, data-driven solutions. That's all really I need to know, or at least not a lot of text, but it already gives me a good amount of information. And I can expect things from this already. I know that, this is going to be, I'm not going to see brand identities here or some graphic things here. I'm just probably going to see product design work, and most of it or all of it should be based around data-driven solutions. So I'm probably going to see, tables and just in dashboards, whatever else there might be. And this is generally, covers majority of my projects that I work with a few exceptions on like building some small websites and things like that. But generally, majority of my work is around data-driven solutions. So I'm already interested and already, is closer to my realm of what I would be looking for, for my company. So let's just scroll down and see what she actually has. So NASA Spacewalk Execution System. Okay, so a fan of NASA and like the whole space exploration. So that would be already very interesting to me to look into that. Remote water pump management. Okay, another. I quite like these very niche and maybe not at the very first inside, not that exciting products like water pump management. That probably sounds like the most boring thing ever, but I've spent a fair share working on tables and logistics and warehouse management items and finance type solutions. So tables is like really spend a lot of time trying to craft good tables and working with data. So another interesting project that I would consider looking into, medical management app. Another great one, because I also like to work with healthcare industry in whatever capacity I can, whether that's like websites or web apps. And again, visually, it's probably not the most stunning or the most visually appealing product, but I would assume that it solves some real problems. So I would also would be quite interested to look into that. And news aggregator website. Okay, so another kind of data type project, but probably least favorite of them all. And then LinkedIn Meaningful Connections. I would be interested to learn whether that's actually she's been hired by the LinkedIn, or maybe that just her case study that she's done. But by the order as well, NASA being at the top and so forth. That's probably how I would rank it as well, for the most part, just from that first look. So that's cool. Really good impression, scoring a lot of for me. I would, one suggestion perhaps include a CTA section here for contacting you. I think that's like a very logical path. You introduce yourself, you show your work, and then I want to contact you to, schedule an interview or whatever. So you can even include like Calendly link, so I could just go into that and schedule things directly there, or you can just have your email or some simple form there. But usually just email address is all I need, and in this case I would need to click on the contact, and yeah, I would go to the contact section. But I also have an email that I can take, although that's that's a weird thing. That maybe she's trying to make this a little bit more interesting with using brackets instead of the actual, dot and actual eta. But that would, I would copy that and I would need to go in and actually replace these for it to work. So yeah, that's kind of extra work for me. Why add extra work for your recruiter? You want to make this as easy and simple as it can be so that I can very quickly get what I need and move on. Okay, so let's open up a portfolio piece, Astra Automated Spacewalk Task and Route Advisor. Okay, cool. First impression, good. Problem solution, my role scope. Okay, nice overview. Just one kind of grid structure here, and it has a label as well, which I like. And then we're probably just going straight into the actual features and screens she built out, and I can click to enlarge it, which is also a great thing when you have this type of structure. I usually want to enlarge it and see it. If you don't have it full width to begin with, then it's a good idea to have an enlarge button here. And yeah, I would use this to again gauge your UI skills and just like generally how things are looking, whether it's clear to me what it is and things like that. So really good approach overall of presenting it. And then we're done with the end visuals, and now we're into the process, I guess. And we've got, okay, so just kind of going through her process and insights, storyboards, user flows. I'm assuming that's probably not loaded up. Yeah, okay. So that's in prototyping concept. Okay, so again, I'm not gonna read. I'm just gonna scroll through it, see what's there. I hope to get to use a tool like that. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so because it's a NASA project, that already kind of scores for me a very personal thing. And generally I would open up another one and see what's there. That's a very interesting and weird type of a layout here for some reason. I can still probably click into it to enlarge it, but generally maybe there's like a bug so that it's shown up like that. And then just the rest of the process. Slightly different approach and visuals, which is fine. It makes it a little bit more interesting and dynamic, and just shows like a different. Seeing information architecture like that seems, that's a huge project, which I don't know whether it is or not, but it looks like it was a fairly big project. So that's cool. So overall, I'm already liking her portfolio. Like the case studies themselves, I would maybe like a little bit more structure. Structure somewhat differently. It kind of everything kind of meshes up to me into one almost, although it uses like big headers here. But I would maybe add, I don't know, some spacing or borders, dividers, maybe just use a different structure here. But it somehow feels like a little bit mixed up, and it could be probably structured a little bit better. But another thing that I like, even though it kind of shows me a lot of about her process, but there's not that much text. So even I can get a good idea again just by going through the titles here, and there are some bullet points that I can also read into. Whenever I see a bullet point, that's extra hook like visual hook to me, so I could read those. There's a higher chance of me reading that, but generally as a rule of thumb, I probably would not read it. So overall, for me and the type of work that I usually hire for, that would be probably a good candidate. Overall quality structure and template overall, I would maybe take a look at the about as well, which she does have. But in terms of projects, overall presentation, that's all well and to the part. I think that she's probably mid or senior designer, if I had to guess. And I would probably schedule a interview with her. So if you can take anything from this is, I think the biggest winning factors is that, she's very clearly and simply states what type of products she works on. And then her actual products reflect that and prove that she's actually working on data-driven solutions. And the products themselves are really cool, at least to me, and interesting to me, so that I would spend the time maybe to open it up and looking through it. And then based on that, I would probably schedule an interview with her. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please consider subscribing to my channel. This is most appreciated. If you want me to review your portfolio on the next video, just leave the comment down below here and I'll make sure to include it in the next one.